I mean, it takes a little more than that, but the fundamental is you understand the importance of having digital marketing skills. I mean, you can't build a real estate business without having someone in your team that has digital marketing knowledge, or you have the digital marketing knowledge. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think, yes, I would agree, but I've been thinking about this because I'm going through and putting together my own program, and I think the biggest difference is digital marketing is kind of that's just a prerequisite, right? Like that's just to like even be able to play ball and step up to the plate. That's being able, knowing how to how to run Facebook ads, knowing what email marketing looks like, knowing how to measure conversions. Those are all just sort of like you don't even get to start until you know that. And there's plenty of people teaching that. The difference in what I was able to do and the difference with being successful with online in 2021 compared to 5 years ago is all of those tactics that all worked. Webinar funnel, you need an application funnel, you need a this or that, the challenge, the summit, all of that stuff. Email marketing. It's not that it doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work as good. And it doesn't work as good because there's a million people out there now. And 5 years ago, there wasn't. And a million people is an exaggeration. But there's more course and educators and online business prerequisite to go ahead and just step up to the plate. The real secret sauce is really being able to know how to successfully run a business and take something that right now is an online product and turn it into a full-fledged business so that you are able to effectively, even if you have to acquire customers at a loss, you are still going to be able to turn them into a profit, right? And you know when they're going to become profitable and you know how much they're going to be profitable so that you can scale. And that's where I was really good because I come from a financial background and numbers is just kind of my thing. But that is what I think most people inherently, naturally don't have. That is a skill that's missing, but yet needed in 2021.
Yeah, Jared, I know you have to balance shortly. What do you want to add to what Coach just said about how important it is to have those digital marketing skills, and why, if you don't have the digital marketing skills, you can still participate by working with people like you that have an agency or join the program like mine where we do all the heavy lifting, right? Speak on why do you think people just figure I can do this by myself, and why that
I think because the barrier to entry is just so low. And Cole, yeah, it was great listening to you speak. And yeah, I went ahead and followed you on Instagram and following you on here and looking forward to hearing more about what you have to talk about. But I think it's just a big thing. You really don't have to have a lot of money to get involved. And like we were talking about earlier with just hitting the boost button, people just feel like, hey, I just hit this button and everything's going to magically work out for me in my business. And it just doesn't work that way. One, a lot of times when people hit the boost button, they don't even set up their targeting. They don't even define who their audience is. And I'm not talking as far as sitting, creating that whole ideal customer avatar, which is important, but something as simple as just putting in the right age groups, putting in the right location. You'd be surprised how many times I'm on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube and I see an ad for a local business. I mean, that's halfway across the country. So I feel like they make it a little bit too easy to get involved, which to an extent is a good thing, but it's like the gift and the curse. So I feel like what Cole said as far as being a prerequisite, I think so. And granted, we're not talking about mixed martial arts, but when he said that, a lot of times guys feel like, wrestling was a prerequisite, as a good base to get started in mixed martial arts because you understand movement. So it's kind of like a similar situation. I feel like what you both said, if you don't have that skill set, you need to get somebody who does have the skill set. And sometimes that's hiring a guy like us. Sometimes it's not hiring a guy like us. Sometimes it's actually building out an internal team. But to think that you can just do it yourself without any knowledge and without putting any time towards it, I think that's naive and it's arrogant. And I think that a lot of us are arrogant and we don't know. But the goal is to find out what you don't know and put people in place to make things happen for you.
One issue. I just wanted to add one interesting nugget that I always, every once in a while, think about, and that's like, as online entrepreneurs, most of us, everyone gets so focused on, having profit right out of the gate, which obviously who doesn't want that, right? But when you think, and once again, I'm tying it back to the title here, physical versus digital real estate, most people just just about everyone, right? In general sense, when you think of an investment, you think of, I'm going to put money out. Literally, it's out of my bank account. I'm not even going to see it for years. And then I'm going to get some percentage on that money, right? So even in commercial real estate, I could be out $1 million to buy a piece of property, right? But then it might be great if I'm getting a whopping 7% on my money. Now think about that as just in the context of investment. Now think about building an online business in which you are not profitable. Remember what I said, the key to being successful is to be able to have a business that can withstand taking a loss at the beginning, but then it turns into profits later. And just think about that, because most people, they're going to try the Facebook ads and they're going to be like, I lost money. This doesn't work. Well, no, Facebook ads still work. It's just you haven't built the infrastructure. You haven't built the actual business to withstand, honestly, the current macroeconomic competitive landscape. So it's sort of interesting to always think about, what is an investment? That's for most of us, it's writing a check and then some point down the line having a return on that.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think it's a certain type of mindset you have to have if you want to do digital real estate. We both agree, I can say we all agree that diversification is best, but diversifying also means diversifying into having some sort of digital real estate portfolio. You just mentioned something that was very valid. Like, you can literally start an online business and exit, for multiples in a year or 2 years or whatever, right? Which, the ROI with physical real estate in that timeline, with all the expenses or whatever, would not even compare. So a lot of people are very confused on how to participate in the whole digital real estate economy. And I'm just trying to reset the room. I have a program that allows people to have an online store, via Shopify, where we literally will manage all the marketing. We handle everything. We literally will build a store from scratch, select a winning product, and the partner's responsibilities for the ad spend. You have to pay Facebook for the ads. If we decide that we're going to use influencers, you're responsible for that. And, Jared also mentioned that some of his clients are getting 10x on their ad spend. Cole, is it typical to, you talked about sometimes you have to take a loss to make a profit, but in e-commerce, right, is it typical for people to get a great return on their ad spend if they have the right copy and, they have the pixels optimized and, they have, the email sequences and everything else, the fundamentals that a good digital marketer will know?
I mean, honestly, I'll give my perspective, but I'll also indicate I know where I'm good and I know where my experience isn't as experienced, and that is with physical products. That being said, let me give my perspective. I think the answer is it depends, right? It's just like info. There's all these, you'll see Facebook ads. People will be like, oh, look, I just got my clients 1,000% ROI on my ads. Well, was it a small retargeting pool of people that have been following that person forever? And, it was the last day of a launch, where, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing can happen, but really it depends. So like for me, taking a loss, where I'm coming from is I don't give a shit about retargeting to small audiences, because if I'm trying to scale a big to something big, I need cold traffic to convert. People that don't know me, what's that, touch point look like? And truthfully, when I'm saying lose money on the front, I'm saying at that initial funnel step. So that being said, it depends, because for somebody who has a great funnel with a lot of upsells and complementary products, then yeah, for sure, right? It wouldn't surprise me that there's always going to be hot, sexy offers in the market. The problem is a lot of times when something is a hot and sexy offer, everyone else sees it too, and then floods the market, and then it's no longer the hot and sexy offer. So yeah, I'm no stranger to making money on the front end as well. I remember and the only difference between now and then is we used to be able to do it with just about every product, and now it's sort of more infrequent. You know what I'm saying? Right.
You got to test and test. So I want you to, maybe you can inspire people with your story. You started a photography. Well, you tell the story as in at your own pace. But I think it's a very inspiring story, and it's a story that someone might, get the motivation to get started. It's the start of a new year, And I think it's very inspiring. Like when I heard you talk about what you did and how you exited, I was like, okay, this is someone I need to connect with. So please share that story for this audience.
Oh, the pressure. You putting me on the spot. First off, Ish, appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, I'm happy to share it because my goal, anytime that I talk with anyone about building something online, it's not about me and more about them to hopefully inspire, because truthfully, that's how I got my start. So let me try and make it as succinct as possible, which is sometimes hard. But I went to school. I should say I went to college and graduated with a finance degree. My first job out of college was in corporate finance, where I was a cost estimator. So I became really good with spreadsheets and stuff. At lunchtime, my buddies and I would just talk about different business ideas. We didn't know it at the time, but I guess that was some entrepreneurial spirit, not wanting to work in corporate America forever. And one day, this was back in 2008, when, ironically enough, was kind of the last time we had a big recession. And I decided after one of those lunches that I was going to become a wedding photographer. The funny thing was I never actually owned a camera. So I went back to my desk and I basically bought some books, bought a camera, and I decided to become a wedding photographer because that was going to be a way to have some side income here in good old expensive San Diego, where I live. So I taught myself, I taught my wife, back then was girlfriend, and we did that for 7 years. 3 years into that, I was doing a photo shoot for one of my friends who was kind of back then, one of the OG sort of health and wellness influencers with a YouTube channel. And I talked with him. I was like, how's the YouTube channel going? You know, you making money? Oh yeah, I'm killing it. So he was doing online summits. He was making a bunch of money. And he says, you should go teach photography. So I disappeared for 2 months, came back to him after I built a website and started recording videos on YouTube and doing all that stuff. And that was Cole's Classroom. So I ended up teaching photography through Cole's Classroom from 2012. It's still up there. You can go check it out. Sold the company. I grew it from 6 figures without any ads. Then I quit my job, my day job, I should say, learned how to do ads, 10x'd it to 1.5, doubled it a couple times, and then sold it 18 months ago. So now basically what I do is I go fishing a lot. I go fishing a lot and catch tuna. But really what I've been in, to tie it back to Clubhouse, I've always I just love this stuff. And Clubhouse, I jumped all in a week ago because I just love sharing my perspectives and my thoughts, which I have now found out to be quite different than sort of the status quo. And I think the sort of secret sauce for me has been to figure out how to kind of rapidly scale without sacrificing profits, because we all have been in enough Clubhouse rooms and see the titles every day about in profit a year is a whole lot different than $1 million in sales, which is anyone can do if you just are willing to spend money on Facebook. So, there is sort of some nuggets there that people can have, and it goes back to, like I was saying, looking at data and being good with numbers and knowing which levers to pull at the right time to create, a multi-million-dollar, hopefully profitable, multi-million in profit business that still doesn't rule your life. So to me, that's what I'm all about and what I'm looking forward to teaching more people about.
Man, thank you for sharing that story. So you guys should definitely follow Cole. He's definitely testimony of the fact that you can make money online and have a good exit in a short amount of time. I brought Jeremy on stage because I see Jeremy's profile. He's done $5 million in online sales in 18 months. 3 times Two-Comma Club member with ClickFunnels, I'm assuming. Jeremy, what do you have to add to the conversation about why people should definitely get involved with digital real estate?
Hey, so I'm in the car, so I apologize for some background noise, but I appreciate you bringing me up, Ish.
Okay.
I just like Cole, I have a degree in finance as well, and I was an accountant coming out of college, and just like craving, making more money, as a side hustle. As I've been came out of that, I just started realizing that as social media is growing, it's more and more important to have to own digital real estate, right? I always talk about having your website or having your Facebook profile and all that stuff optimized. It's like the new storefront on the popular corner where all the walk-in traffic is. Without having your digital real estate optimized, you're not open for business. So it's more and more important these days to have those assets in place. And I hopped in this room because I saw Cole hop in this room. And Cole is a wealth of knowledge. And anytime he's speaking, I would love to be in the room listening.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for your insights. Hey, Leek, I brought you on stage because I looked at your profile. It says .com investor, and I looked a little deeper. It seems like you diversify a lot. What do you have to add to the conversation, brother?
Hey, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Yeah, I'm a domain investor. So for lack of better words, I put .com because most people don't know what a domain is. But a domain is basically a .com, a .net, a .whatever. So yeah, I was listening because you guys are talking about physical versus digital, and I've been doing digital real estate for a few years now. I had an investor show me how to do it. But I know you guys are talking about Facebook ads and Instagram ads and things like that. But what I do is I invest in the .com itself. So yeah, that's really what it is. I think a lot of people don't understand that there is a market in buying digital real estate. And for years, I've been trying to get people to understand the difference or the similarities rather, between digital and physical. So excuse the noise behind me because I'm driving with one of my drivers right now. I'm in New York City, by the way. And thank you. So yeah, the difference between like physical and digital, you guys have been explaining it, but where I come from in this industry is more so of buying a domain and turning around and selling that, or buying and holding it, just like you would do physical property, but I would do it for a website per se, or a domain. If I like the domain a lot, I'll probably build it out the same way that you would buy and hold a house or an apartment building or something like that. So I like the nuggets that you guys are dropping, and I just wanted to continue listening to it. Because at the end of the day, after buying and holding, or whatever the case is for a .com, you still need to have your Facebook ads and things of that nature, so you can actually make money on the things on the real estate that you're holding.
So give us some more insight into some of your investments. I mean, you don't have to give too many details, but like, what is your .com investment strategy?
Hold on a second. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I give you an example. Playboy.com sold for about $13 million back in like 2007. So I give you one of my portfolio .coms. I purchased a .com called Yellow to White because I don't know if you guys noticed, but on Instagram, there is a bunch of people saying that they can make your teeth white, right? So it goes from yellow to white. So I purchased the domain, and then I turned around and sold it for about $5,000. But I don't know if you guys noticed.
That's amazing.
Right. So I don't know if you guys noticed or the listeners know at all, but you can buy a .com for like $9, maybe $3, depending on where you're actually purchasing it from. You know what I mean? So to go from $9 purchase to a $5,000 sale, I noticed that the speaker before me said that there's a difference between netting $1 million and making $1 million in sales. That's the difference.
So have you been able to scale that process?
Yeah, it's scalable depending on if you're buying and holding a particular domain. And you can start off extremely small with, I give you an example, just Googling the local dentist, right? So like I did, I was in the military, I'm a veteran as well. So I noticed that in Virginia, which is where I was stationed, there's a lot of obviously military people, and there's a lot of things going on, families. So you have a lot of attorneys, a lot of divorces, right? A lot of everything going on. So I purchased another domain, give an example of Norfolk Attorney. And what I ended up doing was Googling all the Norfolk, Virginia attorneys and turning around and selling them the domain, because when you Google Norfolk Attorney, you want to be the first one to show up. So I ended up turning around and selling that domain to an attorney as well. You know what I mean? So it's really based on...
You know, you could have taken it further and actually built a website called Norfolk Attorney with the disclosures that you're not an attorney and provide and sell the leads to attorneys. So there are many applications of digital.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so to your point, buying and selling. So for the people that don't understand, that was flipping. And then what Ish is talking about, what you're talking about is buying and holding. So I could have done that. There's a few of them that I did buy and hold, and I'm currently making money on those on a monthly basis as well, based on the revenue coming in from ads and things like that.
Yeah, can you explain that to people? Because I'm kind of sick of talking. The revenue from the ads, how does that work? When you hold a page, I can explain it. When you go on a website that's not, populated with content, typically you'll see, let's say, for example, you misspell a website, you see a bunch of links on there. Regardless of you clicking on those links or not, that website is serving impressions, right? And, the advertising networks, the Googles, the Facebook, whoever, specifically Google with a website, is charging an advertiser to put their link on there, right? So you just having a parked website with links that aren't active can generate money for you. And if you have hundreds of them, it could turn into significant income. You want to speak on that, Leek?
You're absolutely correct. When you Google something and all those results, I know it's changed over the years of what it actually looks like physically, but it's still the same concept. They just made the designs more beautiful for your eyes to look at. But all those links that Ish is talking about are the links that somebody's getting paid for that, right? So it'll lead you to maybe a website that was already just dormant, or it'll lead you to a website that's fully built out with a bunch of links, i.e. priceless, right? We can go into the deep end of all of this, but to give it to break it down to simpler forms, it's all those websites that have Google ad links. Somebody's paying for that. And then on top of that, somebody's making money from those clicks as well. So every time you click on the link, it may turn into, 5-10 cent impression, which is considered a half a view. But every time you go on a website that has those links on it, that's an impression that they can turn around and resell to you at any given point, whatever the product is. So if you Google, let's say, I'll go back to teeth whitening. There's a lot of undeveloped websites for teeth whitening, but there's a lot of links on those websites as well. And if you clicked on it, it'll lead you to someone else that actually does it locally for you. And then you can, they pay per click. So they're paying for you to click on their website. And then they drew you in by coming to their physical place and then actually doing the service.
Yeah, I
so
know
it works. It's a huge circle. It's just a matter of understanding
the fundamentals. Yeah,
what kind of line that you're on.
Right, and there's also the revenue from AdSense. When you there's revenue from affiliate marketing. There's so many reasons why you should start building your online portfolio. But if you want to be more deliberate about it, I have a program. It's called ecommercepartners.online, where we actually build an online store for you that will generate money and we can exit, right? If the program is utilized properly, you can easily exit with 6 figures in the first year. And it's very simple because the fair market value of a profitable online store is about 30x, 20 to 30x. You can go verify that on flipper.com or Empire Flippers. And the gas to get you to that destination is your marketing. right? Can you get traffic that converts into sales, that leaves a digital trail for the next investor to say, you know what, this is a cash generating asset and I'm willing to take it off your hands because I would at least maintain this cash flow or plan on increasing it, right? So people essentially are buying for the data and the momentum that you've been able to amass. And you can scale that, the catalyst is how much you're advertising and how effectively you're advertising. You know what I mean? So I think it represents a horde of opportunities for people that get it. I don't expect everyone to understand this conversation. I didn't easily grasp it in my first, exposure to it, so to speak, right? So I think that I just hope that I've planted that seed of thought in your minds. Whether you sign up for my program or you decide to purchase a domain, I just want to hope that I've added value by letting you just expand your thought process. Like, I don't just have to put my money into brick and mortar. I don't have to gamble with physical real estate. I was a victim of the last recession. I was a young bull out here. I had 9 properties. I was way ahead of myself, because I believed at my core that I was generating wealth, right? But the risk was too much because the expenses were too much. With digital real estate, I can turn it on and off without worrying about a foreclosure, without worrying about property taxes, without worrying about maintenance. So that's what I like about it. You know what I mean? Hey, Tom, good morning. Good to see you.
Hey, Ish, man, thank you very much. Guys, appreciate the opportunity to speak. Ish, as always, love you, brother. Anyway, I'm an influence marketer, but my question is for Leek, because, these days there are tons and tons of different domain extensions, or whatever you call them, like .com, .net, .org, .club, whatever. So are they all equally valuable that way or not? Or is .com still the preeminent domain that you want to capture? Thanks.
No, .com is still the McDonald's of domains. It's still the Mercedes-Benz of cars. It's still, you know what I mean? It's something that people will always use. But what people don't know is that every year they're releasing new extensions.
Yeah, they call them GTLDs, generic top-level domains.
Yes. So they're releasing those every single year, depending on what industry you're in, to get super specific.
Now, that's the real game. How do we own one of those extensions, ML Billion? When you own those extensions, you're in the real money, right?
Yeah.
Those are the registers.
Because now you're breaking down to a niche, depending on how you say that word. So once you do that, then you can understand where your customers lie, and they'll know exactly how to find you. So if you are in the, let's say,
this agency,
I was trying to use another example, maybe doctor. I don't know. Yeah, right. Let's say doctor, and they come out with the doctor, .com basically, or extension. It'll niche down every potential person that is a doctor, and they're breaking it down into industries. And that's where you actually get to make your real money, because you just show up differently. And now people are starting to respect that. Hopefully they're even seeing that it's happening to begin with. But now they're actually starting to respect that.
And the truth is, the acquisition cost of those new extensions are much cheaper. But the valuation of an online property is not based off your address. It's based off other matrix like traffic, you know what I mean, and other more important data like that. So the website is just an address. If I give you a random address, 10 Max Street, Charlotte, North Carolina, that doesn't give you a fair value of the property. What's the square footage? Is it cash generated? What are the comps? That's how you evaluate a website. It's not necessarily, is it a .com? The .com is always the preference because people are more aware of that. But there are .online stores or .edu stores that have exited for multiple amounts of money because the owner of that website has been able to add values to that domain, or in physical real estate has been able to add fixtures to that land, right? So obviously you want to get a .com, but in some scenarios, maybe the keyword you're looking for the .com is already gone, and you might be able to get a .co or a .tech or an extension, and it works just the same.
Right. In terms of the priorities, it's .com, then .net, and then you have your what's the next one?
.org or something.
Yeah, .org. I'm sorry.
.org. Yeah.
.org, and then you have the rest of them. Those are the top three. If you want to go in that order, obviously you're more than welcome to do that, depending on what your industry is in. If you're not an organization, then obviously you're not going to go be a .org. But you definitely want to look at that. And it depends on the extension as well, right? I know you said some of them are a lot cheaper, but then there's a lot that are actually more expensive because of the rarity of it. So you'll find an extension that's maybe $99 versus $9. It's just on how they actually value the extension or the industry that they're releasing at that specific time. So I
And if you've purchased a domain in the past that you haven't used, or maybe you purchased a domain and you want to check the value, there are actually tools that you can use to assess the value of a domain. Well, even though it's a vanity matrix, it kind of gives you an indication of if you're sitting on something worth something. Like GoDaddy has this tool, so they'll tell you, look, the value of this domain is $650, and they use AI and other data sets to basically come up with that valuation. But the domains, there's an active domain investment community. There are people that will take these domains off your hand, and again, sometimes it's just as easy as, I just thought of a word, let me see if it's available. Just get in the habit of doing that and just purchasing those domains. They're very inexpensive, right? They cost just about the same as a cup of coffee, but the upside is so high. And you could be deliberate about the valuation. This is why I like this space so much. So I can take a domain, right? For example, I own digitalrealestate.academy or DRE.academy, right? Because I really want to, this is part of me beginning the process of building the community of digital real estate investors, right? First, you have to educate people on the opportunity, and then you offer opportunities for them to participate, right? So I want to create a community of like-minded people. So I've purchased this domain, Dre.academy. If you go on Instagram right now, it has nobody following it. The value is not the same as if I can get 10,000 people on that Instagram page, for example. And now, the flippers of the world will start advertising because I've assembled this community. And that's why I brought Cole up, because building community right now is the new gold rush. If you can have a community of like-minded people, you don't have to sell products to them. You just look for products that they're looking for, right? I don't know if that made sense, but you get my point. You don't have to go find people for your products, but you can find products for your people. It's easier to build that community and then find solutions and solution providers to the problems that solution has, that community has, right? Whether it's products or services or other service providers. So I think that you should all look at a domain as a way to, add to your net worth, but you can use it as a way to essentially build wealth, for lack of better words. But you have to be strategic in your approach. What's up?
Yeah, I just want to mention something about the voice search is also growing hugely as well, right? So you could even think of a domain name, something like howtodox.com, or howtodoy.com as an example. That's something to capitalize on now too, I think.
Yes, and YouTube pages are a big, highly valued piece of digital real estate because you generate money from the ad revenue. I just purchased a YouTube page because in order for you to start monetizing YouTube pages, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours.
40.
That could take you years at times, right? So I purchased a YouTube page. I actually also invest in this thing called YouTube automation, where instead of me putting my face or me generating the content or me, or putting the burden of myself being the face of the channel, we just produce content that we call non-personalized content. We could do a video with animation on how to fix your credit, right? And generate revenue with that video, right? So we call it YouTube automation because we've automated the content flow we're constantly uploading content onto YouTube that is structured in a way that once one of them goes viral, people will go back on my channel and watch the other videos. So YouTube is actually a very, very important domain, a space to own domains, because only
YouTube
YouTube
automation,
channels
guys.
generates cash flow.
YouTube
You know,
automation.
Especially if you're consistent with it and strategic about it. The problem is a lot of people don't understand how the YouTube algorithm works. So they post a video, and only 5 people watch my video. Well, the other guy posted a video of him doing absolutely nothing and got 500,000 views because he's using the right tags, he's using the right thumbnails. You know, just the fundamentals of how that algorithm works. You know, you can't get in your own way with your content. You have to understand the structure. So YouTube is another place. I tell people all the time, stop posting your shit on Instagram. You're not making no money from Instagram. The same content you put on Instagram that disappears in 24 hours, right? IG Live, etc. You can put it on YouTube, and it's evergreen content. People can come back and watch that content a year from now, and you're making money from that. Or they can, you know, respond to your calls to action, right? So it's all about structure and strategies, you know what I mean, in the online realm. But Rob, you had a question? Rob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm sending emails. Sorry, I don't know if I'm in the right room or not. I seen digital real estate, and I didn't know if you guys were speaking to the Earth 2 thing that's going on right now, but it looks like you guys are just talking about buying up domain pages. So, I mean, while I got the floor, are any of you guys aware of Earth 2 or its use at all?
What is that? Can you school us?
Yeah, sure. It's like earth2.co. It's just something I found on like TikTok one night when I was just lurking on there, and someone was saying how you can buy land in the world, buy land on the earth anywhere, and you can. I don't understand how you make money off of it. And I got to a point where like I figured out what worked, and I'm not going to act like I made a whole lot of money, but I got to the point where, you know, I would average around like $40 per article. So that kind of became like my side money. I did have like affiliate marketing links and ads on my blog. You know, I started a small network of other bloggers, and we would do like content sharing. I guess we didn't call it that then. It was more like, hey, we're all small time. Let's share each other's content, our articles, and link each other. I started that, and that was pretty successful for like maybe a good year or two. And then I was like one of the first blogs on, I forgot the name of that network. It's Yard, what was it? Yard Dog, Yard? It was a MSN/Fox Sports page for, or website for independent bloggers. And it was popular for probably like 4 or 5 years. I think it still exists, but I was one of the first fight blogs on there. So, you know, in doing that, I realized what worked for me. It was posting articles about combat athletes in Europe, especially Russia. For some reason, that garnered thousands of views within minutes. And then also anything that dealt with MMA fighters working out or dealing in any other way with athletes in the NFL, NBA, and MLB. And anything like that would usually like instantly bring in thousands of views. I would get clicks, and then the Fox, I forgot the name of that website, but that would bring in money as well. So I was probably averaging at best, like I said, like $40 per article. But now I'm like 10 years removed from that, and considering maybe blogging again, but I don't have a lot of time or something along those lines. What would you all advise, you know, how would you all advise someone like me in just, you know, pursuing, you know, any kind of digital real estate or blogging or what have you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Here's my suggestion. You know, it's changed a lot from 10 years ago, like you mentioned, right? You know, 10 years ago, there wasn't anything like influencer marketing. So if I was going to start a blog, I would interview influencers because they already have a reach, right? And they would share that content with their followers with a swipe up or whatever. right, who are very interested in that influencer, and that's how I would get my views on my website or whatever, right? I would pursue more affiliate links, but I would also make sure that I'm getting the data with email captions of everyone that comes to my blog. So essentially, even if it was 10 years ago, if you had been capturing the emails of everyone that came to your blog, that is the money. The $40 you were making from AdSense and stuff, yeah, that's cool. You can easily scale that with paid media, where you're actually getting a return. You're paying for traffic to come to the site, and you're doing these collaborations as well, like you mentioned. And you have to be more deliberate. Like there are things you can do to optimize the odds of people clicking on links and things like that, right? But if I was to start a blog, I would definitely utilize social media, right? Because that's what wasn't there 10 years ago, right? So the social media landscape is much more improved. It's much more robust. You can get millions of views from TikTok and essentially funnel that to your blog so you can generate AdSense revenue. So that's how I would look at that. Another thing I would do is I would look into building multiple blogs that I can exit from, right? You can sell them. You know, remember that. If you go on Flipper right now, people are selling blogs. And people are also adding products on their blogs. So I read a story about a writer on Medium who last year, or 2 years ago, he wrote an article about the 50 best gifts to give to men. And he wrote it for I think it was Inc. magazine or one of these big magazines. And then he realized, oh my God, I fucked up. They're getting millions of views of this. So the next year he renegotiated with them and said, I'm going to write you the same list, but I'm going to add my affiliate links. And he ended up making $100,000, right? Because he leveraged his content with their reach, with an agreement that anyone clicks on, because all they wanted to do was have an article, right? So he was able to put himself in a position where he used their reach to monetize his content. So you just got to be creative about it. But congratulations on.
So
go ahead.
real quick, with that advice, would it be best to just start my own blog or blogs? Or
but what is your social? I just think blogs have sort of evolved into social media, right? So your online profile is what matters now. But at the same time, you could have your blog on your own website. But people generally don't go read blogs anymore, unless it's a very compelling. We've evolved from the blog space into social media. We want short form content that we can absorb. I think we all have more ADHD now. So just keep that in mind. Just think about human psychology, any marketing initiative you take, right? Are people likely to read my blog? Absolutely. If you can funnel in from your social media, right? But I would treat my social media as the blog.
I have a question.
Thank you.
I have a question for everyone on the panel. What advice would you give a person who has a couple $100,000 in credit? How would you advise them to invest in digital real estate?
I would definitely say, hit me up about e-commerce partners done online. It's a low-hanging opportunity. You can get in the program for as little as $5,000. You have a store, a profitable store. You're eliminating trial and error. And we can start advertising. I can literally have your store set up in 48 hours. And I have a whole team to support that. So once you have the store, you now have access to the mastermind every week. We have different classes that we speak on. So you're learning this fundamental digital marketing skills as well. That's really the goal, right? So I call it a learn and earn opportunity. We're managing the store. You're shadowing everything we're doing so that you have the ability to take off the training wheels and do it on your own. But if you just dive in deep with that $100,000 and you say, I'm going to figure this out, or I'm just going to hire some random agency, you don't even know if the agency is performing, right? So I think it's the best advice I can give you is embed yourself in the community of people that are actively doing this, right? And if you were to look at what I do and look at what my competitors charge, you see that I'm offering you a steal. There's a company called Elevated Automations, right? This is Clubhouse. You guys can go check them out. They charge $30,000 to do Shopify automation. I charge $5,000. That's why I have 62 people signed up, because I'm disrupting that old business model, right? I'm building a community of people that we're going to go around. Out of those 62 people, maybe a dozen of them and I are going to do more significant investments. We're just getting to know each other with this, Shopify stores, right? If I'm able to generate them profits and I'm able to exit with them, I've built that trust with them where I can say, look, let's purchase a domain that's already generating $100,000 a month collectively, right? So it's, I'm assembling my community of like-minded people. That's why I don't have a problem being out here speaking in front of everyone on Clubhouse, because I'm being deliberate about my approach. If I talk to 20 people and one person signs up, it took me an hour of conversation. The other day I had a conversation on Clubhouse and 4 people signed up because they see value in it. Some of them have actually admitted, look, I tried to do it myself and I failed. Or I don't have the time, like Tim said earlier, right? So I just think that do your research, but if you decide that you want to get into the online retail side of things, right? I don't know what your skill sets are. And you want to also learn how to do Facebook ads, how to do Google ads, what influencer marketing is, an introduction to drop shipping from people, not just me, different experts that have actually done it, right? Go look at the website, ecommercepartners.online, or just send me a DM. But ML Billion, what would you do if you had $100,000 with good credit and wanted to get into digital real estate? Billion, are you there? You might be busy.
Sorry about that, Ish. Man,
That's okay.
listen, I don't have the luxury of not working out simultaneously, man. All the rest of you all look real good and the whole nine. I got a bunch of fat that I got to get rid of, so my apologies, Ish.
You in the gym, you getting buff, huh?
Man, what's going on, though, King? I'm sorry, I completely.
No. So the gentleman Stevie asked a question. He said, "What would you do?" Can you repeat the question, Stevie?
Yeah, the question was, what advice would you give someone who's trying to get in the digital real estate arena with a couple $100,000 in credit?
Well, the first thing I would sit and say is that if you've already gotten to a stage where you're at a couple $100,000 in credit, then the area that I would really want you to do is actually to expand that into a couple $100 million in credit. Now, simultaneously, the goal should not actually be for you to really truly engage in digital real estate, maybe in the capacity in which Ishmael is describing. Your goal is to be at a point of funding everybody else that's listening to Ishmael right now. The goal should be to fund them so that they can effectively be at a point of doing the work, and you can be at a point of just collecting money off of your money. So, my biggest push is to be the bank. I own 144 companies right now, and I'm working diligently to be at a point of actually selling off those companies. And when I say sell them off, meaning I'm working to consistently find individuals that want to be operators, if you will. So whenever I'm at a point where I'm sitting and I'm having a conversation with somebody about, hey, I've got X, Y, and Z dollars, I got $1,000 to my name, I got $10,000 to my name, whatever that number is, I'm consistently working to describe to individuals that, well, your goal should be to continue to build your financial base, your credit base. Then from there, you should do exactly what banks do, which is people that want to be operators, let them be operators. You finance the operation as a whole. So if we're talking the digital real estate domain, great. There are ways, and I'm sure that you all can sit and speak with Ishmael further, but I'm sure there's ways to be at a point to where you have some sense of controls over whether the domain structure or whatever it may be with regards to these stores that Ishmael is speaking on, that in the event that whomever don't actually pay in a timely capacity or whatever the case may be, you foreclose on the digital real estate. I mean, we are sitting and talking about, digital real estate. So why are you not sitting and processing in the same exact vein as the physical real estate? You have a whole bunch of banks that are engaged in mortgaging for physical real estate. Why don't you have a whole bunch of banks that are engaged in mortgaging for digital real estate? So if you sat and asked me about, you got 100,000 or a couple 100,000, what I would sit and say is that one, you need to be involved in my program, Billion Private Banking program, if you will, and two, let's partner up so that we can be at a point of providing digital mortgages to everybody. Man, I just came up with that digital mortgage situation, man. Hey, y'all do me a favor, man. Get that domain right quick, man. mortgages. Yes, get that right now. But
Hey,
we on it right now.
I'm interested. I'm very interested in Ish and ML Billion. I'm interested in working with both of you guys.
Yeah, just hit me up, Stevie. You can check out the website. It's ecommercepartners.online. You can check out Billion's IG. He's a solid guy. It's my friend. And I know that he knows his stuff. And, you can follow both of us here on Clubhouse. You don't have to necessarily sign up for the program. It's just, it's an opportunity that other people have started embracing because the value is there, right? And I understand that everything is not for everyone, but my responsibility is to create awareness for my program and also awareness about the topic we're discussing, right? Which is, even if if you have no interest in doing a Shopify store with our program, go buy yourself a domain, right? Start building up that digital real estate portfolio and start educating others, your friends and family, about the opportunities in domains, online stores, purchasing social media profiles that have some type of traction and data. That's what I'm trying to get out there, that the only opportunity that exists is not what we've been told. There are emerging opportunities that we tend to overlook because we see things a certain way, and that's why a lot of kids are doing very well with YouTube and TikTok, and they're making millions of dollars because we're not grabbing these opportunities because we're jaded, right? So I think it's very beneficial to just educate yourself in these topics. What's up, BJ?
Real quick, pause for a second. Billion, that domain is for $33,000 right now. If you want,
I'm buying it right now.
Yeah, because you can flip it. There you go. And it's 33,000, and there's nothing on there, right?
No, there's nothing on there.
Proves my point. But we all knew that. Let me bring Charmaine Mack up here. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to talk about digital real estate. I think we had a very insightful conversation. Again, if you want to take action, just follow me, and we can get you started with a Shopify store, so you can at least have your stake of digital real estate. And 95% of Shopify stores fail because people have egos and think that they can do it all by themselves. And most successful business people understand the concept and the value of a team, right? So we have a team of very experienced digital marketers that have built profitable stores online, that have made the mistakes that we're trying to avoid others from making, that know what to do when Facebook shuts down your business manager account, that utilizes different strategies like influence marketing, Google Ads, SEO, email and SMS marketing, and also selects a winning product. And Tim mentioned that he dabbled in it, made $30,000, but he didn't have the time, which is very typical. And so we do all the heavy lifting. The website is ecommercepartners.online. It's in my bio. And I look forward to answering any questions anyone has in a one-on-one. But if anyone else has anything to add, go ahead and do so, and we can end the room.
Hey, man, listen here. I'm telling you, action is everything. So we went ahead and right now my whole team is literally scouring the internet for all of those domains that I just got finished describing. But the light bulb completely went off, as I was sitting and describing what I was describing earlier, by way of the fact that, you're building a space that, obviously most people can't really wrap their mind around completely yet. But a part of that, the reason why they can't wrap their mind around it completely yet is the fact that it's the price tag that may effectively be associated with it. It's the time that's associated with it, and so on and so forth. But digital real estate. And then again, now I'm like, well, hell, I can go ahead and bring together a whole bunch of digital real estate brokers. Now,
if you purchase digital mortgage,
listen, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, if you purchase it for $33,000 and you spend another $1,000 populating it with the right content, even better if you invest in the right copywriter, it could become a lead magnet where you generate leads from mortgage companies. And the leads, mortgage leases are not cheap. They'll pay a premium for them. So that in itself becomes a business. No, but you're missing it, Ish. You're the one that actually is providing the real estate. You're the one providing the real estate, and these people that are on here say your course is $10,000. Okay, well, everybody doesn't have $10,000, in order to be able to engage in your course. But I know that your course is basically it's real estate. I know you're going through and you're building the actual domain, the Shopify stores, and so on and so forth. And as you said before, you have a 50-50 split with with your partners themselves, if you will. So in me knowing and understanding that and knowing what you're building, I know now what you have is actual physical real estate, and people that are on here that want that physical real estate, I'm going to go ahead and finance those people that want that physical real estate, because worst case scenario, they default, that domain comes back to me, that business comes back to me, and I resell it.
I'm in.
I'm told you I'm gonna
I caught it the minute you said it.
I told you I'm gonna touch $1 billion this year. Well, listen, y'all keep going with these rules, man. Keep giving me some more ideas.
I am in.
Billy,
Give me the interest rate, man. Give me the interest rate.
That's why I love this Clubhouse. You never know, because it's a mastermind. It's literally a mastermind. I know what I know. You know what you know. We have a conversation and we develop a new thought process altogether. Like, look at what the brother Leach. I don't know none of these people on the stage except you, and we've had a healthy, informative conversation, right? And when someone comes on stage and they say something stupid, I send them back to the audience, because I've learned that if we allow the conversation to flow, we can learn. But if people just want to come up here and just speak for the sake of speaking, my rooms don't move like that. My rooms are intended for us to learn and network with each other, right? So that being said, if anybody wants to add anything of value to the conversation or has a reasonable question, please just raise your hands and I'll let you up. But if you just want to come out here and ask something stupid or just, please, I prefer that you just keep that to yourself. I want to learn. My time is money. Everyone's time here is money. And we've had a very productive, healthy conversation. And unfortunately, not all rooms flow like that, right? So whatever you're thinking, let's have a conversation about it, because that's what happens when you have a mastermind. I've been in those masterminds where people pay $20,000, and this is literally how it works. I say what I know, you say what you know, we come up with an idea, and the epitome hits us, and then we execute on it. You know what I mean? So whatever you're thinking, I'm glad that you took the time, because I know you're not the type of person to sit here for an hour if you're not thinking about how does this benefit me, right? So that's beautiful. And that makes it worth my while. So let's follow up on whatever you're thinking, and let's link up with Leak and get him involved, or anyone else that has value to add. That's what it's about. What's up, Patrick? What's going on, Patrick?
Hey. I love all the information that's being disseminated this morning, especially because being under the tutelage of Mr. ML Billion now for going on close to 18 months, it's expanded my mind in becoming a banker and a lender as well. And especially because I got my start in the e-commerce space, actually, with Amazon and eBay stores, being able to scale 2 of those into 6-figure businesses, and then one this year that we're looking at passing the 7-figure mark, from the standpoint where we've been able to vertically integrate into buying fulfillment center and shipping centers to combine that with our e-commerce stores. So this is definitely brilliant from the standpoint that I know, I guess the e-commerce partners, does it specialize with Shopify stores? I'm guessing that's the basis of it.
Yeah, most of our framework is based around Shopify, but we also talk about how people can start their own digital course, how you can monetize ebooks. But we're Shopify partners, and we run our stores on Shopify, not Wix or any other platform. The reason is very simple. We're building financial assets, right? So one of the good things about Shopify is Shopify does something called revenue-based financing. So when your store actually starts generating money, Shopify knows the data, and they'll offer you money to keep it going. So I think that's a huge advantage. It's not based on credit. If Shopify sees that you generated 10 grand, they'll extend you 20, 30,000 because they want to keep you in their ecosystem. And I like Shopify. They have, a bunch of applications that you can add to enhance the store. A lot of people think it's just a website, but it could be a functional online entity, right? So you can add sales funnels, You can do a bunch of stuff that a regular website will cost you more money and time, right? So I just like Shopify. I like the fact that, when you do drop shipping, as you know, you might think a product will sell, right? And you always have a need to pivot. That's why it's important not to be in love with the product, but in love with the insights and the analytics, right? So what we do is we look at a product, we test the product, but because we have multiple stores, we know what's working. So we can say, look, the jewelry space is bumping. Let's stop what you're doing. Let's start a jewelry store. The objective is to generate the maximum return on the ad spend, right? Not be adamant that we have to sell the fidget spinners when the indications are there's no more demand for it, right? So that comes from experience, right?
So you're identifying where the demand is coming from, basically.
Exactly. We sell the trend. We're not in love with the product. We sell products that are already in demand for, and we go with the flow of the money. So, for example, electric massagers, for example, they're selling like crazy, right? But if we start seeing a decline in the demand, we're not obligated to sell that. Someone could come right now and say, I'm going to be the cheapest supplier of this product and start bumping up their money on ads. Some people will literally try to get market share by losing money initially because of the lifetime value of a customer, right? So we look for products that there's a lot of opportunity, and that's the benefit of working with a team, right? So when people come in the program, the first thing we do once they enrolled is decide what products they start out selling. But I always set the right expectation and say, look, we're not stuck on this product. If this product is not doing well, one, we can sell the store. Two, we can pivot into another product, right? So that increases the odds of success because any experienced dropshipper will tell you you have to test different products.
Okay, perfect. Because I know the same way that you guys are doing with Shopify stores and digital assets as well. I know some people within my network, just on the Amazon side, a lot of people are doing the same thing, where they're flipping the stores out, or even from a private equity perspective, where they bundle stores together and they're able to sell them off, or whether it's
one of my friends did that for $52 million. He sold a bundle of the stores he's had for 5 years for $52 million to a private equity firm.
And a lot of these, and then one of the things that I love about the e-commerce space is that in terms of what we call velocity, being able to turn your profits over, the only space that I've really seen people be able to do that is either through a prop trading operation or through a successful and profitable e-commerce store on a month-to-month or week-to-week basis. So definitely that's something we could look into. And then I know from the lending side and the financing side, that's something I'd definitely be interested in. And I
want to talk to you guys about that because I actually have a meeting with a company called FlexBuy, which is a consumer financing platform. So, the cost of my program is $5,000, and I've been allowing people to make installment payments. But they offered me, look, we'll finance the people as long as they have, I think, a 600 FICO score, and they'll send me a check within 48 hours for that enrollment fee. And those people make payments to them. But if you guys can, because I know you guys, if you guys can help with that, let's make it real.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think one other aspect that I'm seeing, just because of my geographical location, I'm based near the Washington, D.C. area in Virginia.
Right. Gotcha.
And so that's where a brand new Amazon headquarters is going to be, where it's going to bring, I think it's like 25,000 jobs or something like that. And so I'm right there, literally 10 minutes down the road. And so having a fulfillment center, we've seen the boom just in this area. So I can just imagine when you hear about Amazon buying different old retailers that are going out of business, they're just buying them up in groups. So I know where that's going. So that's something we can definitely look into because I know how big that space is going to be going into this next decade between the next 5 and 10 years. So that's something we can definitely take advantage of.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of arbitrage opportunity in e-commerce too. Well, yeah, let's talk about that. It's a private conversation.
Definitely.
But thanks for joining us, Patrick. Does anyone else have any questions? Anyone else have any questions? All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go get started with my day out here. And if anyone has any questions or they didn't get a chance to ask a question, just send me a DM. Follow ML Billion, follow me. And, I'm going to have conversations like this more often because I enjoy the feedback. Have a nice day.